Well, hi, my name is Matt Wood with Antique American Indian Art with another one of my Tuesday talks. I get a lot of people email me photographs of Kachina dolls that maybe they've inherited or they've acquired somehow, and they want to know if it's real or not. And what they're actually usually asking me is it Hopi or is it Navajo? And today I'd like to show you the differences between the two. The Navajo and the Hopi are in New Mexico and Arizona. The Hopi are a Pueblo culture, and in their culture it's traditional to make Kachinas. The Navajo really don't have a Kachina culture per se. They actually are copying Hopi dolls, and there's some distinct differences. To collectors, the Hopi dolls are the collectible ones. The Navajo dolls are regarded more as decorative items and don't have the same dollar attached to them. Very simply, the Navajo dolls are going to be dolls that are going to have a lot of attachments like fur and feathers and hide strings, and they are going to be carved rather simply, oftentimes very block-like, very stiff figures, generally speaking, and they're very bright and showy and colorful. They're oftentimes made out of pine, not cottonwood roots, so they're a little heavier than the Hopi dolls will be. And they're regarded pretty much as decorative items. So when you look at these two dolls right here, you're going to see kind of the classic Navajo style. And these dolls tend to resell today anywhere from $35 to $125. These might be $45 and maybe $85. The Hopi dolls, on the other hand, they are going to be carved out of cottonwood root. They're going to be much more carved out. So they will be carving out their clothing, they'll carve out the feathers, all the attachments tend to be carved. This all carved style really became dominant in Hopi culture in the 1980s and all the way through today. So when we're looking for the differences between the two, that's one very simple and obvious way. We can also turn them over and we can look for different artist signatures. The Hopi tend to use their traditional names that oftentimes will end in Tewa, whereas the Navajo carvers, most of them will have names that have an Anglo nature to them. David Mike or Jim Smith, or names that you would not instantly recognize maybe as Native American. So that's another clue. The Navajo dolls are sometimes confused though with 1950s, 60s, and 70s Hopi dolls. Over here I've got a 1950s and a 1970s doll that does have some clothing attachments, that does have some fur. But on the Hopi dolls, again, they're going to tend to be carved with a little bit more detail, more musculature, less blocky, and they're going to have a little bit more correct nature. And when I say that, meaning that the Navajo dolls are oftentimes dolls that look like a deity of the Hopi, but actually are painted incorrectly or will be holding incorrect things or may not represent any particular deity at all. Whereas traditionally the Hopi dolls have a very narrow and defined way of being presented because they're relaying the stories of their culture in a very specific way. Anyway, the value-wise on Hopi dolls can go from $300-400 up to $1,000. Whereas the value for most of them, whereas the value on the Navajo dolls mostly $30, $50, $80, $100. That's the price difference. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned a little bit. You can always email me and see my website at Antique American Indian Art. Thanks so much.